All right. All right. So to start out, we're going to start out with Schoology and Easel open. And what we're going to do is create this bowl tray that is a specific size. And we're going to run through downloading the image, importing it, and creating the correct toolpaths in order to create the tray. So the first thing we're going to do is on Schoology, we're going to open up the Easel Project 1 bowl tray and go ahead and click on the bowl.jpg. And we're going to right click, save image as, and make sure that you save that to your downloads folder. So by default, it should go to your downloads and it'll pull it up right here. We're going to jump back to Easel, and even though yours doesn't look like this right now, I'm going to go back, and yours probably looks like this with either one project or nothing in it at all. So we're going to start out by hitting New Project. And then once it loads, by default, it gives you a standard size piece of birch plywood, so we can control our materials right here. All of our tools are on the left, and then we have our options and project properties right here. But the first thing we're going to do is change our size, and we're going to change our material type to pine, change our width to 5 inches, our length to 5 inches, and our thickness to 0.75 inches. After you change your Z thickness there, you're going to change your XY 0 point. By default, it's in the lower left corner. We're going to change that to the center, so that anytime we are positioning our material, we're just going to calculate where it's going to start, which is in the center of that board. So you'll see that it shrunk down your preview material size and your artboard over here, right? And by default, it puts that 0 in the center here, and then it gives you 2.5 inches up, 2.5 inches down from that center point, and then the same thing left to right, because this is a 5-inch by 5-inch square. So we're going to import that bowl, and you could do this for any image, of course, so whenever you make your own tray. We're going to import it by hitting the import button here, the arrow, and then we're going to go to image trace. If you don't see it, you may need to get rid of this downloads bar on your screen. But again, that's just arrow image trace. And we're going to hit upload file. Click on the blue plus sign there. Select your bowl. Hit upload. And it'll pull your file in. Now, we won't have to, because this is a black and white image, we won't have to change anything. But if yours isn't getting picked up, maybe you have a different picture whenever you make your own tray, you're going to want to change your threshold and your smoothing. I don't think we need to change anything about this image. We could just leave it and hit import, and it'll import it in. Now, by default, it brings it in at the size of the image, which is a little bit larger than our 5x5. We're going to shrink that down, but we're not going to drag it from any of these corners. You can resize your items by dragging it down, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to type it in. So the first thing I want to do is select this center position here, these 5 circles, and we're going to say we want our X to be 0 and our Y to be 0. So you can just type it and hit enter, and it'll center up that bowl on our material. For size, we're going to hit this chain right here, and whenever you click it, it'll turn blue, and that just makes it so that if you change the width, it'll also proportionally change the height. So let's make our width 4.5. Right, so by default, it brings it in and it makes what's called a pocket cut. So if we look at our tab here where it says shape, if we go to cut, right, it's saying that it's making a pocket at 0.45 inches. We're going to change that. Instead of it doing a pocket on that path, we're going to change it to cut outside the shape path. So we're going to cut that completely out. And we're going to change this depth to all the way down. So we can drag that slider down and make sure that it says 0.75. If it still says 0.5, make sure you change your material size here. Now it automatically tries to add tabs. That's what these little yellow lines are. And for this project, we won't have to position them, but on yours, you want to avoid a tab on any type of point. So I would recommend bringing that tab like over here, and that's going to work much better whenever we cut it out. And that tab, as you're cutting through, you want to leave a little bit of material so that this doesn't move around on you as it's being cut. So if you leave a tab, it'll stay in position and then you can cut it out at the end. So we have our cutout of this shape, but how do we create the pocket in the same shape? And Easel makes it very easy to do that by clicking on this Lego block, right? That'll take you to the app library. And if we go to search apps, we can type in offset, or you could just type OFF and it'll pop up. And we're going to use offsetter V2. And what it does is it takes a shape and then it offsets it by a specific distance all the way around it. You have your iterations. We only need one, right? And we don't want to go outwards. We want to go inwards. So I'm going to click inwards, and it'll push all of the lines to the inside and then at a distance of 0.25, which is perfect for this small tray. So if I hit import, it'll bring it in, right? And right now it'll cut out the shape of that bowl, but we don't want to cut this out completely. So if we click on the smaller bowl, the inside one, and change it back to a pocket, right here, cut path, clear out pocket, it'll clear out all of that distance or all of that material. But we don't want to set it to this distance. We want to bring it up to about halfway. So half of 3/4 of an inch is 0.375 or 3/8. So I'll just type it in, 0.375. Right? So now we have a cutout shape, right? And we have a pocket that's in the same shape as that cutout. Right? And using that, you can create any shape tray and offset at that same distance. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can find, right? As long as you have the lines to do it, meaning the outside area. So the last thing that we're going to do is change these cut settings. So right now it says that the estimate's about 30 minutes. If we hit simulate, it'll simulate what that toolpath's going to do. And it says 18 minutes. Now 18 minutes for such a small tray is pretty long. We could definitely do better. So if we click on bit, right, it should still say 1/8 inch bit, straight end mill, right? But we're going to change our cut settings to manual. And we're going to change it from 40 to 60. And that's how fast it's moving around that machine or that part. And then our plunge rate, we're going to leave it at 9. And our depth per pass, we're going to change that to 0.1. We can leave everything else. The offset's fine, the ramp's fine, all that stuff. We can leave it. But now whenever we hit simulate, it's only going to take 9 minutes. All right, so a lot quicker. All right, so that's how you make the bowl. You're going to name it by clicking on the untitled up here. Name it your last name, and then bowl. Go ahead and hit close on there. And then to submit it to me, you're going to go to Project, Share, Unlisted, click on the link and it'll copy it. Jump back to Schoology, click on the Easel Project 1. And right here where it says Bowl Project link, you're just going to paste that link right in here and hit post. All right, so that is how you complete your bowl. Submit it, and then after you submit it, you can start thinking of your idea for what you want to make for your tray. Good luck. If you have any questions, please let me know.